Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Parkersburg High School, the campus of Parkersburg High School. At Stadium Field tonight, we have the Parkersburg Big Reds versus the Greenbrier East Spartans. And we have a guest announcer in the box tonight, former assistant basketball coach at Parkersburg High School, now at Williamstown High School. Brian Singer filling in for John Davis. John's going to be a little bit later, so we're going to come at you with 3 as soon as John gets here. But we have our captains at the middle of the field, waiting on the toss. We're about 25 seconds away from kickoff, and the Big Reds looked really nice last weekend in a home opener against the GW Patriots. And Brian, I don't know if you got to see much of that game, but man, I'll tell you what, they looked a lot better than a lot of people might have expected.
I did see that, Coach Shinny. I saw it on television set there Saturday and Sunday night. Big Reds look really strong in the trenches. Joey Lindemood, their featured back, looked really strong. Something when he comes more comfortable under center and in passing situations, I think Big Reds down the stretch in October and late November, that's when it counts, is going to be really strong.
Yeah, they had everything clicking. I'll tell you what, the first drive there for George Washington, they went 9 minutes, something like 60-some yards, and didn't score any points. But like you said, the Big Reds tightened up. They look good in the trenches. They have good. Suffin looked good, and like you said, late November or early November, month of November, they're going to be a hard team to handle. I think they're hard to handle right now. Greenbrier East coming off a loss to Calvin Midland. Calvin Midland is always one of the better teams in the state of West Virginia, and I don't know much about them this year. I'm hearing they're a little bit down. So Greenbrier East is looking to get back on the winning track tonight. Kicking off for the Big Reds this evening is going to be sophomore Tyler Warner. This kid's got a pretty good leg on him. I know he played a little basketball for you last year, didn't he, Brian?
Yes, great kid, Cheney. Great kid.
And he's got a pretty good leg on him as well.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's Connor Loudon's old number from last year.
That's taken by Zach Coleman up the middle, and he had a little bit of a hole there, and they're going to start out. The Spartans and Greenbrier East are going to start out 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line. So pretty good return for our southern opponents here this evening. And Sergio Bracamontes, I'll tell you what, he's a lot wrapped up in a little package, and he's calling the huddle right now. And Greenbrier East will be coming off the sideline. Looks like a little no huddle, and they're coming to line up right now. So looks like they're going to come out in a shotgun. Quarterback is number 3, Dominique Daniels, and he's a pretty darn good athlete. So, and here comes Serge right up the middle. They're going to pitch out to the left, and he's going to get, looks like about 7 yards on that first carry. So it's going to be 2nd and 3 from about the 31-yard line for the Spartans of Greenbrier East. And Sergio in the middle there, number 15, he's an all-state swimmer like we were saying, is coming all night long.
Little speed option there, plays Shinny to give him. This could be a money down for him. A little open up.
They're going to go trips to the left. They're back. Dominique's back in that shotgun again. They're going no huddle. They're going to try to wear the Big Reds out, but I can tell you what, I don't think that's going to happen. And they put the ball on the ground. It's going to be picked up by Parkersburg High School. I can't tell who got on it. There's a whole host of Big Reds there. He just didn't get it. He was looking more for the hit than he was than making the play, and coming up with the fumble right there is Dustin Combs, the senior for Parkersburg High School on that defensive line. So Big Reds are going to get their first offensive series early from their own 27-yard line. So here we go. Kyle Suffin under center, number 21. Joey Lindemood coming off a 198-yard night against GW. They're going to send Tony Morrison, and first play, they're going to send Tony Morrison in motion, and right off the bat, Tyler Sutton goes deep to Jeremy Rhodes for the touchdown. We are 57 seconds into the ball game, and it's 6-0 Big Reds. Last week in the rain and the weather, we had a little bit of problem with the kicking game, so hopefully the long snapper. I know we've got a new long snapper in there this weekend, Nathan Conley. He's a junior at 6'1", 160, and he's going to be snapping tonight with Kyle Suffin holding, along with. And I can't tell. I can't make out the number of the kicker. Oh, Bobby Hopkins. Bobby Hopkins is going to be kicking the extra points tonight. So good snap, good hold, and the kick is up, and it looks good from here. And it's going to be 7-0 Big Reds right off the bat. We'll be back after these mentions. 7-0 Big Reds. Tyler Warner set the kickoff. Jermaine Allen back deep for, and that's who's going to take it. Zach Coleman, and he fumbles the kick. And there's a host of Big Reds down there. Looks like Matt Winans is going to be the first one on the scene. I'll tell you what, Matt had a heck of a game last week on special teams. He's only a sophomore, about 145 pounds, and I'll tell you what, on special teams, he's the first one down the field. He's a tough kid. And it looks like it looks like Greenbrier East, GE, is going to come back out in the no huddle again. So here comes the Greenbrier East offense onto the field. And the Big Reds will be waiting on them with Joey Lindemood leading the way at that left outside linebacker. We got Kyle Suffin in there, number 7, playing that left corner. That's interesting. He was in the ball game last week with some on defense, but not as a full-time starter, I don't think. Under center this time, Brian, and just the regular pro eye, and right up the middle, there's nothing there.
I think it's going to be really hard to run on the Big Reds. They look just so much bigger up front. When we were walking up, Shinny, we past the Greenbrier East Spartans coming up the sidewalk there, and they just didn't look very, very big. Kind of athletic, but not big in the trenches, and I think it's going to be hard to block these Big Reds.
Right, not a lot of size, and this Big Red defensive front is, they're not big. Josh Jenkins, number 77, has got some size. Justin Atkins, number 78, he's got some size, but I'll tell you what, Dustin Combs, he's about 200 pounds, along with Zach Garrett on that right defensive end. He's only about 185 pounds, so they're not. I mean, there's a good mix in there for the Big Reds, but they're still bigger than an offensive line for Greenbrier East.
Well, talking with you every day, also Shinny, through the summer, I would just know how hard your wrestlers and along with the football players train, and I just don't think there's any better strength program in the state of West Virginia than what these guys go through.
Oh, I don't either. I'm with you on that 100%. And it looks like that's going to be Dominique Daniels, and he's coming out, and the Big Reds just closing on. There's a host of Big Reds waiting on him. That kid looks like he's pretty athletic. He's got a lot of speed, and he tucked that in and tried to take that boot all by himself, and there were about 6 Big Reds waiting on him. So it's going to be 3rd and about 8 from their own, looks like about 11-yard line, and on a ticking clock. And Greenbrier East, these first 2 possessions, just can't really get anything going. And you talk to any football coach that I've ever met, he says, you got to set the tone early, and this is not a real good tone to be setting for the Spartans. So they're going to come out with trips to the right side. Dominique is back in the shotgun, along with the lone setback, Drew Workman, and Dominique's rolling to the right. He's looking, and he's just going to tuck it in and run it himself. He had some guys open, it looked like, and he didn't get much out of that. It's going to be what looks to be about 4th and 5 for the Spartans, 4th and 6 on a running clock, and here comes the punt team. I can't make out the number.
Well, Shinny, you and I have seen a lot of Big Red football over the years, and to beat a good Big Red team, you're going to have to run on a little bit and then pass a little bit.
You have to mix it up.
And I haven't seen one yet that if you can't run on it,
they're going to be
it's a long night.
Well, they got Mason Roberts back deep. He wasn't sure he was going to play tonight. He had a little problem with his foot this week. And they almost blocked the punt. And this kid, I promise you, he's going to take this punt. He is not afraid. Mason came up and made every play he had to make last week. He caught balls that we thought should have been a fair catch, and he took off with him. Balls that probably should have been let go. He went and got him. He is not afraid at all. So he come up and took that one and got a couple yards on the return. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Big Reds from the Greenbrier East 42-yard line with about 8 minutes to go, 8.5 minutes to go on a running clock. 7-0 Big Reds from Stadium Field on the campus of Parkersburg High School. The sun's getting ready to hide behind the west side of the stadium. And so far the Big Reds are looking good. Joey Lindemood, and there goes Joey up off the right side. And I'll tell you what, Greenbrier East is waiting on him. They sent Tony Morrison in motion there, and just a handoff right up the middle to Joey, and he's going to have no gain, as you heard Dean Leach probably in the background there saying no gain. So
Tommy Mutter, number 44, came up with an initial hit. Jacob Cole, number 35, of the Mike backer position, came up to assist him on that tackle. But
Tony in motion again. They're going to get – nope. Here goes Kyle rolling left, looking for somebody down. He's looking down deep, and he's got number 2, Andy Thomas. Andy's going to get inside the 10. It looks like he needs – good job, Andy Thomas. Nice catch. He was covered up there, and he came up and took the ball, and we're going to have a first and goal inside the 8-yard line. Andy's only a sophomore, and I'll tell you what, he's one tough kid.
Nice throw, nice pitch and catch there, Coach. There was some argument over the summer whether number 7 or number 2 was going to start the quarterback position, but, down the road, number 2 is probably going to be the favorite, but right now, he's throwing some nice balls.
Kyle's doing a great job. He did a great job last week. He moves well. He threw some nice balls last week, and that was a perfect pass right on our numbers to Andy, and Andy pulled it in and got us about 25 yards there. So they're going to give it to Andy again off the left side. It looks like he's going to go. Oh no, he fumbled the ball. I'll tell you what, he stepped out of bounds. I hope he stepped out of bounds before that ball fumbled inbounds, and he's going to get a gain of about 8, and it's going to be second and goal from about the 1-inch line. I don't know if you can get any closer than that. So Andy got him down there, and they thought they'd give it to Andy again to get him a 6, and he was almost there, just a little bit shy. So Kyle Suffin into the cuddle, and he's coming back out, and I've got a pretty good idea what's going to happen right here.
The bus.
Kyle under center, Tony in motion. They're going to give it to Joey, and there's nobody there. And Joey steps in nice and easy. He takes one step into the end zone, and just like that, it's 13-0 Parkersburg High School with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Kyle Suffin holding, Bobby Hopkins on for the kick, and here comes Nathan Conley, the long snapper for the Big Reds.
Yeah, while we're waiting on this extra point, nothing to take away from Andy Thomas, but the more athletes you have on the field, the better you are in high school athletics, and to keep Andy or Kyle off the field would just be a crutch to this team. So, nice pitch and catch to a quarterback to a future quarterback there. That was neat to see.
That was nice, and Bobby Hopkins, who was having a little trouble last week in the weather, is 2 for 2 tonight. And the Big Reds are up 14-0 with about 7:45 to go. Tonight at halftime, we're going to have a student-athlete spotlight, and they're going to be checking out Jeremy Rhodes. Jeremy is a senior this year. He is number 47. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. He's playing tight end, strong safety. And I'll tell you what, that Jeremy's a heck of an athlete. He really helps this Big Red team out a lot. So Tyler Warner coming on the kick for the Big Reds. And I think we might have mixed it up back deep for Greenbrier. No, we've still got the same guys in. We've got Jeremiah Allen and Zach Coleman back deep for Greenbrier East. This is Greenbrier East's first year in the MSAC Conference in football. We know last year in the winter and spring sports they were in the MSAC. We saw them at the MSAC wrestling tournament. And they've got some pretty good athletes down there, and they're not afraid to compete. So, and that is a kick straight out of bounds. And as you can see, Tyler Warner is not happy with that. And I would say that Greenbrier is going to probably take that.
And I'd say Coach McCall is not happy with that.
Yeah, I promise you, Coach McCall is not happy with that.
But he's a sophomore. He's a coachable kid, and he will only get better. He is living in big shoes with falling Connor Loudon, that's for sure.
He's got a heck of a leg. Connor just left last week for Princeton University, where he's going to be taking care of the kicking duties up there, and want to wish him luck. So here comes Greenbrier East back into the no huddle. They're going to go trips again to the right side, it looks, and they're putting that. Brian Calhoun is the low setback. They've got Dominique Daniels in at quarterback, and they're going to let Dominique run with it. He's going to pitch it out to Brian, and Brian's taking off over the left side. He's going to get about 2 yards. I noticed there's a flag, there's some laundry down on the field over there, and we were walking up here this evening. You said you picked number 5 out of the crowd and said you liked him. He looks like a little athlete, doesn't he?
I like him.
We'll see what the call is from referee Phil Fleming.
You can only look so good there, Coach, though,
It looks like, you know what, that's not Phil Fleming playing at the referee position. It looked like him coming at us, but going away, it's not him. So we got motion on the offensive side of the ball, and the referee is talking to the Big Red defense right now to see what they want to do. And there's might be some confusion down there on what's going on. I see Coach Mike Getty, who's taken over the defense coordinator duties this year for Parkersburg High School, and that is one intense little son of a gun down there. So it's going to be 1st and 15 for Greenbrier East from their own 30-yard line with 7.5 minutes to go in this first quarter. And I'll tell you what, it's taking a lot longer than we expected. We thought both these teams would run the ball a lot, but Greenbrier East come out throw it. So Dominique's back in shotgun again, and there's the ball's down again. I think the Big Reds got it back. They did. Josh Jenkins has come up with the fumble, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for Parkersburg High School from their own 28-yard line, and we're not even 5 minutes into the ball game yet. So,
Coach, we could be here till 1 in the morning.
If it
doesn't, this is going so far.
If it doesn't pick up here, I don't know. A lot of these guys standing down here along the sidelines are probably going to get a lot of playing time tonight, looks like. We'll
it's early.
We'll see. You never know what could happen. If you watch that South Carolina game last night, it's never over till it's over. University of Central Florida came back and made some. And there goes Jeremy Rhodes, our spotlight athlete of the week tonight. He's down inside the 10 to about the 6-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal for the Big Reds, and that'll stop the clock at 7:23 in the first period. And Bobby Hopkins is on the sidelines warming up already. So he's got a lot of confidence in this offense that he's lackadaisically going about kicking those extra points. So, I didn't see the flag come down. They called it illegal formation.
That was on the Greenbrier East sideline there, Coach.
On offense.
I didn't see it either.
That was a nice play that's going to be called back. Kyle threw a nice ball there. Jeremy pulled a nice one in, and you hate to see those big plays like that come back. So that's going to make it 1st and 15 for Parkersburg High from the 33-yard line. And Kyle's in shotgun formation with Joey leading the way. Joey throws a block. Kyle gets it out to P.J. Pausley, and that's going to be about an 8-yard gain. It's going to make it 2nd and 7 for the Big Reds. And so far what I've seen tonight, Brian, the Big Reds are going to be able to do whatever they want. That's the way it's looking right now. Greenbrier East hopefully will be able to tighten this up and make this a little more of a ball game. 2nd and 8. And we got Kyle Suffin back. Oh, and they take a quick snap to Joey, and there's a face mask. And I don't know how they didn't. Oh, there comes the flag. The referee's standing right in front of it, but the slide judge had to throw the flag on it. So that's going to be a penalty on the face mask on the Greenbrier East defense. Joey comes back up out of the, shaking his head a little bit. And let's wait for the call from the official. They call a personal foul with a face mask, and they're getting ready to march it off right now. So, that's a 15.
Is it automatic 15, Coach?
I think it's, yeah, and it's going to make it 1st and 10 from about the 13-yard line. We're going to put, and there's going to be a timeout. We're going to take a timeout as well. Timeout Greenbrier is 14-0 with 7 minutes to go. Parkersburg High School. We'll be back after these messages. 23. And we're back at Parkersburg on the campus of Parkersburg High School. Just walking into the box tonight are normal color guy John Davis is with us now. So we've got Brian Singer and John Davis. Kyle Suffin rolling right, and he's got a couple of guys open. What's he going to go with? Oh, nope. I'll tell you what, he had 2 guys open. I think he waited a little bit too long there, John. He was looking for Jeremy Rhodes, and it was almost picked off.
Yes, it was. Shannon, glad to be with you all this evening. It looks like I missed a good bit of action here. Brian, good to see you again and have you on board. tonight. Beautiful night for football. Sounds pretty good, though, from the Big Red standpoint. Kyle Suffin, before that, was 3 for 3 for about 80 yards and a touchdown. So, looking pretty good here.
We're back in the shotgun again, John, with Joey Lindemood next to Kyle. Trips to the left, and Kyle's going to roll left, and he's got all kinds of time. And it looks like Tony Morrison down there for the touchdown. That's 20. That's going to make it 20-0, just under 7 minutes ago in the first quarter for the Parkersburg High Big Reds. And here comes Bobby Hopkins on to kick another extra point. So, I'll tell you what.
Well, Tony Morrison, senior, I tell you what, he's having a good night here this evening so far.
Tony's a good athlete. He can do just about anything you want him to. And the kick by Bobby Hopkins is up and good. That's going to make it 21-0 for the Big Reds. I'll tell you what, John. Last week it started out a little slow with GW, and this week they're on fire.
There is nothing slow about this evening. My goodness sakes. Looks like that if this continues, there's going to be a lot of Big Reds getting some playing time tonight.
Before you got in here, I was telling Brian, I said these guys standing on the sidelines watching, they're going to get a lot of playing time this evening, I think. And there goes the Big Red Indian with his trusty flag running up and down the sidelines. And Tyler Warner is getting set to kick off once again once they break huddle. Coach McCullough giving last second instructions there. We have Zach Coleman, Jermaine Allen back deep again for Greenbrier East. And Greenbrier East needs something big here. They need to break something or get a nice return. They haven't been able to mount much on offense or special teams tonight.
Seems to me that Greenbrier East has been caught off guard. Of course, they received the ball at the beginning of the game, ran but one play, and then the Big Reds had a touchdown the next play. So the Big Reds get the ball back second half, too. I think that out the sidelines here, let's bring the ball out.
That's the second kick in a row Tyler's kicked to the sidelines.
Well, now's the time to do it, I suppose, when they're doing pretty well on offense. But you're right, Jenny. They need to get something moving. They're back on their heels right now and not able to do a whole lot except get field position for the out-of-bound kickoff.
Well, I can understand, in the first couple scrimmages Parkersburg High School had this year, they looked a little bit weak in the defensive back area. And Morgantown threw the ball a lot. I know the other two teams, Spring Valley and Ripley, threw the ball a lot. So I can see them coming out here right now in a shotgun like they're doing right now. Dominique back in a shotgun again. But they're trying to run this no huddle like they're going to wear the Big Reds out, and that's not going to happen. And here comes Tony Morrison. And there's your boy, Brian. Brian Calhoun. And they're going to get their first down of the game. That's going to be a gain of about 13 yards for Greenbrier East, but they're still not in Big Red territory. It's going to make it 1st and 10 from about the 48-yard line, 49-yard line for Greenbrier East. And that was a nice play. If they can put stuff like that together all night, we might be in trouble.
Yeah, that was a pretty good play. The Big Reds had a little bit of pressure on them that time, but we're still able to complete the pass and get a nice pickup for a first down.
Sergio and Tony Morrison showing blitz again as they do every down on defense. And here comes Sergio. Dominique rolling to his left. Sergio's giving chase. He dumps one off, and waiting on him was Mason Robertson. We said we didn't know he was going to play much. He's not playing on offense, we know, but he's playing on defense and special teams. And, Brian, that's going to make it 2nd and 5. So, GW, Brian, looks like they're putting a little bit of something together here.
Yeah, you got to get your athletes on the field, Coach. And I just coming up the sideline, number 5 is just unbelievable looking athlete to me. I know he's young, he might be non-coachable and whatnot. I don't know the kid personally, but by looking at him, he was by far out of the 50-some odd Spartans over there. He was the Randy Moss of
the crew. Well, I'll tell you what, he's only a junior, so they've got him back again next year, and they're going to go. He misses the block there, but Dominique rolling left, and he's going to make some moves, and Tony chases him out. Tony Morrison chases him out of bounds. It's going to make it what looks to be about 3rd. I don't think there was much of a gain there.
But John and Coach, by looking at this, that's PlayStation-esque. You know, I mean, you can only do that so much in a night.
PlayStation.
You gotta have your power eye, your pro eye, your wing tee. I mean, you gotta have your basic run. You gotta have mixture run. All they're doing is in shotgun and it splits people out, and that kid's making some moves. That's gonna end soon.
Is that word in the dictionary?
I don't think, but it should. Maybe I'll talk to that Jeff Foxworthy guy and put it in that redneck dictionary.
The Dominique roll right, and Tony Morrison's waiting on him, along with a host of other Big Reds, and Zach Garrett, along with Joey Lindemood, and they weren't letting him get anywhere. So that's going to make it 4th and 15. Puts him back in Greenbrier East territory, and they're going to punt. And there is the little fire plug, Mason Roberts, back deep.
I'll tell you,
for the Big Reds.
I'll tell you what, this defense is pretty strong, pretty sturdy. That was a nice tackle. And Mason Roberts had a nice one also earlier in the drive, pushing his guy back. He is a fire plug. There's a reason he's a special teams player, and looking like he's playing pretty tough on defense there as well, pushing the guys backwards on the tackle, which is the way you want to do it. He's set to receive deep now.
He'll come up and get it. And Mason takes it and waiting on him.
Good job holding on to the ball there.
I'll tell you what, he's not afraid. He's limping. I told you that he had this past week he had stepped on a nail, and the nail went through his shoe and up into his foot, and as you can tell, he's limping. He's got his right foot there taped up a little bit. I'm sure he'll be fine here in a couple days, but he's not letting anybody talk to him. He doesn't want anybody to know that he's a little bit.
Well, now the cat's out of the bag, but you know what? That's just a puncture wound. It'll heal pretty quickly. He's a Big Red, so it probably ain't going to be a problem.
Well, we're back in that wing tee with Joey Lindemood at the top and Kyle Suffin under center. There goes Tony in motion. They're going to give it to Tony off the right side, and Tony needs to turn the corner here a little bit, and he's going to. And he put the ball on the field, and it was picked up. He fumbled.
That ball was bouncing around down there. Who ended up on it?
You know what? There's so many down there I can't tell. It looks like number 9, Dominique Keys.
You know, that's a daggone shame, too, John and Coach. Number 62 took on a block and really pancaked the kid. And went and took on another block downfield. Zach Garrett, he had a little special in the Pigskin preview for you folks at home there. Want some reading material throughout the week. Make sure you check that out. A little Mighty Might in the trenches. Really was great block and took on another block, but unfortunately we fumbled there. And
well, Dominique's bringing out the Greenbrier East Spartans in the best field position of the night at the 28-yard line of the Big Reds, and the Big Reds are closing in right here. And there's an interception by Mason Roberts. And is he going to go or is he going to get run down? He's going to. I'll tell you what.
That was nice. Mason Roberts had his eye on the ball the whole way. The Big Reds put the heat on the quarterback, and he saw that sidelines after picking off that ball and was going for it.
Was that 53 or 63 that ran him out? Because there's not a 53 on their roster sheet. But anyway, he had the angle. And he ran Mason out there. Big Red's defense closed in. Greenbrier, Dominique got a little bit antsy and threw the ball away. And interception, Big Red's ball. Get the ball back first and 10 from the 31-yard line. And off in the distance, we can see the notorious Parkersburg parachutist coming at us. He's running around town again this evening. So
I saw him down on the river one night at the point.
Yep.
Flying around, crossing over Kokomo's and Belpre and getting kind of close.
Yeah, he's coming into Parkersburg. He's going to check out the field tonight, see what's going on. There was a gain of about 3 there with the clock running about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. And Kyle Suffin's going to bring him up. It looks like we're going to be in that wing again. Joey at the top with Rhodes and Morrison as your wingbacks. Oh, that's Andy Thomas, number 2, and they're going to give it back to Tony, and there's untouched. There's
touchdown.
Nobody there. Nice block.
That was an excellently. I'll tell you what a great play. What a great play.
Charlie Taylor threw a nice block out there. I don't know if he had to, but he did, and sprung him.
Gave him that extra room, that seam to make it into the corner of the end
zone. Little
like
misdirection, and they thought Andy was going to get it off the left side, and they gave it back to Tony coming back across, and Bobby Hopkins is on to kick the extra point to hopefully make it 28.
I tell you what, the line blocked extremely well that time and opened up a hole that even you or I might be able to run through. Shenny, maybe not to the end zone. That was a long way. That was 30 yards, but But
I can promise you I'd got it right now.
I know definitely there's one guy in the booth that could have made that one. I don't know about you guys, but I'd have been dancing a little jig here in the end zone.
Well, it's interesting here. Greenbrier East had an opportunity in good field position on a turnover of their own to put it in the end zone and make a game of it, 21-7. Instead, the Big Reds.
Bobby Hopkins up and good with 3 minutes 49 seconds to go, 28-0.
The Big Reds instead make a great defensive play, putting the rush on, and then Mason Roberts, of course, takes that interception down to put the Big Reds in excellent field position. It doesn't take them too long to put it in the end zone. Of course, this is a pretty good Big Red offense and defense. Greenbrier East, their first year in the MSAC conference this year, along with Beckley, 2 newcomers into the conference. And Beckley did a good job the other night, I guess, beating Riverside, who I think is down a little bit, but still Riverside didn't put any points on the board.
We'll see next week. We travel to Beckley next week.
That's right. It'll be a good game.
We'll see. There's a third team in the conference this year. Princeton is now in the MSAC this year, and there's a consolidation of Lincoln County. I know in the next couple of years they're going to be in Lincoln County High School is going to be a AAA school. Is going to be also in the MSAC. MSAC I think is the best conference for a lot of football, baseball, basketball. Those big sports. We wrestle in the MSAC, and there's some good teams and there's some subpar teams. But for far as football and basketball go, it's a premier conference. Tyler Warner going to kick a little bit short. Looks like it's going to be taken by Jermaine Allen, and he's going to cut back across field, and he's got a little bit of room there, and he's going to be.
We got a flag down on the 15-yard line.
Sergio Bracamontes is going to bring him down.
Shinny, a little add-on Princeton there. We went down there for basketball this past basketball season. Unbelievable facilities down there. You wouldn't realize that, but they'll be a nice asset as long as Woodrow.
I've never been to Princeton. I've been to Princeton. I've never been there as far as competing or as an athlete or as a coach. So I trust you when you say that. Princeton's always had a good football program, and they weren't at the MSAC wrestle tour last year. They don't have a wrestling team. I know that they've been competitive in basketball over the years. So those are going to be 3 nice additions to the MSAC conference this year. It looks like the penalty is going to be on Greenbrier East. Is going to move back in front. It's a hold.
Little extracurricular activity, I believe.
And it wasn't a hold. I thought he was calling a hold. It wasn't a hold. It was a personal foul.
Yes.
Well, you get a little bit frustrated. It's 28-0. You still got 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. And it's going to be 1st and 10 from about the 16-yard line for Greenbrier East. And they're just going to go to a pro-eye. Brian Calhoun at the top, and they're going to pitch it out to Brian.
Putting the pressure on.
Big Reds are waiting on him. He's going to get about a yard.
Greenbrier East not able to block the Big Reds on the line of scrimmage or the linebackers. They were reading the play pretty well, followed it right down the line, and minimal pickup.
It's going to be about 2nd and 8 from the 23-yard line, and like we were saying earlier, Greenbrier East has got to get something going here, or this could get ugly. It is ugly early, but it could get really ugly. Make for a long trip home. It's already a long trip home. It could make for an even longer trip home.
Well, I think sometimes there are teams that play in football that are night and day apart, and we might be seeing a situation here. This is very early still in the first period. And as you say, it's already 28-0. Greenbrier East not able to move the ball any offensively at all. And the Big Reds just seeming to go through the motions, really, and putting points on the board in process without many offensive plays to do so. So
Greenbrier East calls their 2nd timeout of the first half with 2 minutes, 44 seconds to go. We're going to take a timeout with them. We'll be back after these messages. And Dominique back, and there is Matt Lindemood waiting on him. Matt Lindemood comes in as a true sophomore. Like you can have a redshirt sophomore in high school. A true sophomore for Parkersburg High School, and he's going to make the play on 3rd and 8 for a big sack of about 12 yards, and it's going to make it 4th and 20 from their own 6-yard line. The clock is running, and keep it running, boys.
Things are quickly going from bad to worse for Greenbrier East. They're now punting out of their own end zone. after they were finally able to move the ball a little bit after the sack. 4th and 19, 20.
20.
And we'll see what happens.
Bad snap, and there's going to be a safety. Good. Bad snap. Dominique couldn't get a handle on it, went out of bounds, and it's going to be a free kick for Greenbrier East. It's going to make it 30-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Greenbrier East is having a real hard time here tonight, guys.
Well, Big Red's getting ready to get the ball again here, and I guess defense put a couple points on the board, and they deserve it. They've been playing hard. They've been playing well. They put
points on the board last week too.
That's right, they did.
So you see Mark McCullough barking out orders in the huddle for the special teams, and that's one thing Parkersburg High School has always had an advantage is we've always had a good special teams unit on the field, and
that's true. And you know we've talked about it before, but this is a different game, and worth mentioning, I guess at this point is that there are 3 teams in football. You've got your offense, your defense, and your special teams, and you need to have a good special teams unit, whether it be kickoff return, punt return, field goal, and that can make a difference in a game a lot of times. Virginia Tech has been a college that has been successful with a good special teams program over the years. And, and they've won some games. They've won a number of games because their defense is
we've got Mason Roberts back deep. Dominique's going to kick it off. He's Mr. Everything for Greenbrier East. And Mason lets that one go. Andy's going to take it on the bounce, Andy Thomas, and he's waiting for a hole to open up, and he looks like he's got one.
Right-hand
He's going to go right, and he's cutting back up into the middle, and he's going to go down about the 50-yard line with just under 2 minutes to go. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Big Reds from their own 49-yard line.
You know, Shani, Brian, I got a feeling that he might just be getting warmed up. I think he's going to be getting some playing time tonight, quarterback, and on special teams. Well, he's already in there, I guess, isn't he?
Guys, we're looking at if this clock doesn't start rolling here, we're looking at a 45-minute first quarter.
Oh, we're getting close. We're back into the – we got too many guys in the huddle. Too many guys in the huddle. Illegal participation.
And that's for a new quarterback, sophomore coming off the field.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about when I said it looked like he was still in there.
Right.
Well, maybe he's lining up on the
that's August.
outside. It is. He's getting anxious. He knows he's going to get some playing time tonight. And
I think me and you, John, will get some playing time tonight.
If we want to, we might be able to. I don't think I have any eligibility remaining, but
I have 2 years.
I might be able to get one play in.
But I haven't signed with my agent yet.
So it's 1st and 15, Big Reds. Kyle Suffin remaining at the helm.
He's going to give it to Joey off the right side, and I'll tell you what, Joey's going to get about 3 back, and Joey's in the hunt for a Kennedy Award, and he hasn't seen much action because they haven't needed it. And
but I'd like to see him need it. You know.
Yeah, he needs to get some yards under his belt to keep him.
A Morgantown team would do that with a Euro or with a featured back as strong as what Joey is.
We've had so much going on tonight that Joey hasn't really been able to get the yards he usually has, and we're still in the first. And
let's go to the well a little night, you know.
I'll tell you what, Joey's hard to bring down. He's going to get another 5 or 6 there. It's going to make it 3rd and what looks to be, I'm going to say about 7 or 8. 7 with we still have a minute to go in the first quarter.
And it's 30-0 Big Reds. You mentioned Joey not getting much time running. I think that even though it's 30-0, like you say, Joey hasn't got many reps, and he's going to get them. He's going to get some runs. He's going to break a few. He'll probably break one for a touchdown. Maybe it'll be this play.
Right here, hopefully. And there's about 3 yards. They've got Mason Roberts in a fullback for the Big Reds, and that little fire plug, man, he's a tough kid. He's in there with a bad foot and everything else, and he's playing fullback. He's returning punts. He's playing on defense. So the punt team looks like it's coming on with the Big Reds, and Kyle Suffin is the punter for Parkersburg High. And they're going to put Calhoun and what looks to be Zach Coleman back deep with the clock ticking, and I think they're probably going to let this clock run out. So we're just under 10 seconds to go on a ticking clock. We're going to have a break in the action. This is the Big Reds of Parkersburg High School 30, guest Greenbrier East Spartans nothing. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back to the stadium field on the campus of Parkersburg High and start the second quarter. And Kyle Suffin is in the punt for the Big Reds, first punt of the evening. Good snap. And Nathan Conklin, the long snapper, got a good snap off it. He's the first one down the field. We're going to down this ball inside the 5 at about the 4-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for Greenbrier East on their own 4-yard line in the shadow of their own goalpost.
Well, it's Joey Lindenberg down there hustling to down the ball inside the 5-yard line. And what an all-around player playing all the special teams. And Greenbrier East has got their backs against the wall again. And the way the Big Red defense has been playing,
This could get ugly.
There's a possibility the Big Red defense could score again.
You know, I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed down here on the sidelines, number 33, Tony Morris is sitting on the bench. He's got ice on his ankle. So I would bet you that he's probably done for the evening.
I didn't see him come off with a twist or a limp.
No, he came off under, no problem, but might be something they don't want to mess with, and I wouldn't either.
I would say you're right. I'd say he's probably done for the night. There's a hole up the middle.
Your boy, Brian Calhoun, had a little bit of a hole, got tripped up.
Just got tripped up.
Brian. It's going to make it 2nd and 10 for the Spartans.
Oh, the Big Reds starting off their 100th year of football, or their the second game of the season, starting it off pretty well here. It's 100 years is a long time to be playing football.
100 years is a long time to be doing it. Sergio's showing blitz, and he's coming. There's Brian Calhoun again on the right side, and he's going to get back in line of scrimmage. He's going to be brought down by a host of Big Reds, and it looked like Matt Lindemood was waiting on him again. And that's going to make it 3rd and about 5. And one good thing about this, guys, the clock's running.
That was a long first period, over 45 minutes, I think, Brian, you were saying.
It's close.
Close to it. You put that many points on the board, you got to kick the ball off 4 or 5 times. That's going to add to the length. There weren't too many penalties, just a lot of scoring.
I'll tell you what, Brian Calhoun rolling. Was that Calhoun who threw the ball?
Yes.
He does just about everything, doesn't he? He got a nice little spin on that ball and couldn't quite get it in there. So Dominique Daniels is going to be back to punt for the Big Reds for Greenbrier East again from his own end zone.
That's not good, Coach. When you in the start of the second quarter, you put your quarterback in wideout and take a guy from the other category that's not even on either starting chart that we have here in front of us and put him at quarterback and try to throw the quarterback.
You're getting desperate, it looks like, but when you're down 30-0.
A little trickery. Last time didn't do too well for the punter, but this was a little bit better than safety anyway. We're able to get the ball off for about a 20-yard punt, it looks like. The Big Reds are going to take some good field position at the 25, 26-yard line. And I got a feeling they'll put some more points on the board here. And, I think you're right, Tony Morrison's done for the night, I would say. He's still on the sidelines with the ice on the ankle.
I'll tell you what, I saw some jerseys coming in there, John, that we didn't see till 4th quarter last week. So looks like the Big Reds are starting to run some people in and out of there right now. On the line.
Joey Lindemood's still in the game. He's set up in the back position, which going in motion. Looks like he might get the ball. He does to the outside. And he's got a hole in the outside if he can get to it. Cuts it upfield to the 20, down to the 15, 13, 12-yard line. 2nd short.
It's going to be about a 12, 13-yard gain, so it's going to be 1st and 10 on the 12-yard line. And I guess the ref is saying he went out of bounds. I'd keep that clock rolling if I was him. There it goes.
Yeah, I think his knee was down before he went in bounds. They may have stopped the clock to move the chains. But
and Dustin Combs in a fullback for the Big Reds. And I'd like to see Dustin get some points tonight. They're going to give it back to Joey, and he's going to go in untouched if he can stay on his feet, and he does. And that's a touchdown for Joey Lindemood of about 14 yards. And that's going to make it 36-0. And we've got Bobby Hopkins coming back on.
I tell you what, he had a nice hole on the outside that cut back to the middle, opened up for him as he cut back to the middle, and Joey made a nice run. As you say, he just tripped over himself. He was untouched into the end zone. What was it, a 13-yard touchdown?
12 yards.
12-yard touchdown.
I'm giving him 13. If you look where the chains are right now, it's 13.
Well, he had, 200 last week? Nice start. And you were mentioning
198.
You were mentioning earlier, Shenny, he has been mentioned as a Kennedy Award candidate, which of course is given out annually to the top player of the year. And he shows the ability to do it. Last year, he finished the year off strong, and he's a gutty performer that plays everywhere on the field.
Well, Joey's just that kind of. I mean, he'll. I have a feeling that we're gonna, as we progress here, we're gonna not be calling his name.
Oh no, I think
we might be calling Matt Lindemood.
Yeah, and Joey's probably about done for the night. I know they probably want to get a touchdown in.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Big Reds on the home side tonight have a wonderful crowd. Looks to be, for the most part, full. And the home stands are full from fence to fence, from end to end, goal line to goal line. Yeah, and, last week we had a pretty good crowd for the rain, but, I figured we'd have a good crowd this evening with the nice weather and Big Reds performing so well last week. So we've got Tyler Warner set to kick off again, and our back deep for Greenbrier East is going to be Brian Calhoun, and that looks like, and they're going to
good kick down to the 12-yard line.
Line drive to Jermaine Allen. He's got a little bit of room. He's going to get up over the 30 to about the 34-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Spartans with 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go for Greenbrier East. And there's a lot of new jerseys. Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like the starting defense still in there. Minus
there's a lot of starting defense still in there. I tell you what, this defense is proud. They'd like to have a shutout here tonight, too. I'm sure that the starting unit won't play the entire game, but
get them through the half.
Yeah, they play the rest of the half, maintain the shutout, do their job, get the ball back to the offense where they can score like it looks like they just about did. That's some pressure from the defensive line.
Surge was there, but it's going to be second down at about 13. Tell you what, at halftime, I'm looking forward to the spotlight on the student athlete, Jeremy Rhodes. CAS is going to do a little piece on them, on Jeremy, and I'll tell you what, he's deserving. He does it all. He's in on special teams, he's in on defense, he's in on offense, and he's a good athlete.
Another tough, gutty player that is reminiscent of the Big Red player.
So Greenbrier East coming back to the line on 2nd and 12. I formation, Dominique under center.
And they're going to give it. Surge, he just about took the handoff himself on that play.
We might have
an injury.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that didn't look good, but he's
like a rubber band, because I want to tell you what, you and I both saw that.
Brian, that's your boy, Brian Calhoun. He comes up.
Brian Calhoun.
We'll make a third at about 4. It looks like 8 minutes to go on a rolling clock in the second quarter. Parkersburg High School leading 37-0 in their second home game of the year, second game of the season, second MSAC game. And right now, man, they're looking like a machine.
I would say it's going to be another year of playoffs without doubt. The question is how far the Big Red is going to go. Yeah, they play a tough schedule. And
Matt Lindemood was going to make that play, and he just missed. He just missed Dominique, but Mason Roberts was up there to.
Mason Roberts, nice hustle.
Free him up.
Nice hustle on the outside.
Make the play.
That's what we're saying. The Big Reds are going to make the playoffs. It's going to be.
Well, it's a long season.
It's a long season, but I would say that it would be unexpected if they didn't make the playoffs. Currently ranked number 2 in the state and playing extremely strong at the beginning of the year. Next week, as you say, will be a good game with Beckley to see how things start to fall in place a little bit more. But this is an extremely well-conditioned Big Red football team, and that showed last week in the game against GW, and I think that's going to continue to show.
We've got a flag down.
Prevails.
We've got a flag that looks like it's going to be delayed game, I think.
We have 2 man players.
Oh, legal substitution. It's going to be a first down.
Sometimes that happens. Is that a first? Oh, that is a first down with a 5-yard penalty.
It was
That's
4th and 4. It's going to get the first down. That's twice.
Second
it's the
first
second
down
time tonight we've been hit with that.
Well, that's their second first down of the game. Their first one was actually on a good play, not a penalty. But sometimes when you're trying to get other people into the game, that's going to
happen. That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And in this situation, it gives Greenbrier East the first down, the automatic first down, as you say, at the 45-yard line.
Not much there off the right side for Calhoun.
Well, as you say, the majority of the Big Red defense, starting defense, is still in, as is the same for the Greenbrier East offense. You know, they have pride and they want to get some points on the board as well.
Well, it looks like Greenbrier East has changed quarterbacks, and that Alan Lavelle, a 5'10", 155-pound sophomore, is under center for him now, number 7. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 from their own 45, and they're going to give it right back to Calhoun. And it looks like Dustin Combs is waiting on him.
Dustin Combs just made a nice stop. Nice stop. Dropped the runner for a loss, a couple yards with a nice, strong hit.
So, Brian, we've got 3rd and 11, 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go on a rolling clock. 37 at the Big Reds. What do you think?
I'd say you're going to have to look for
little arrow
Greenbrier East to come out in a shotgun formation.
Well, second half?
Evidently, they came out in the wrong formations. Now they're in the eye.
Well, they need to pass the ball, but he doesn't need to be dropping back or he's going to get sacked.
And it just looks like John and Coach that Greenbrier just totally crapped their game plan and just crapped their quarterback and everything and just going with the...
Are you looking for the word scrapped?
Maybe I can't say crap on TV. Is that illegal?
Well, Mason looks like he's got a little limp to him, and they've got him in back deep on this punt as well. So I don't think, I'll tell you what, 4th and 17, it looks like it might be a little more like 4th and 20.
I think Mason might like to take advantage of this opportunity to return this kick.
Well, Mason's having a little trouble with that foot, as you can tell. He was limping a little bit. He gets a nice punt off. And look, he's not afraid. He'll step up in it. They got to give him the halo. And he stepped right up in, didn't call fair catch, caught the ball. It's going to be 1st and 10 with 5 minutes and 24 seconds to go. 37 at the Big Reds. And we're going to stay here. Here comes the offense for Parkersburg High School. And there are some numbers on the field. As you see, Joey Lindemood and Tony Rhodes backpedaling off the field. And it looks like Andy Thomas is in a quarterback with Matt Lindemood in the top of the... back. Lindeman's going to be the lone setback there with Andy Thomas, the sophomore, at center.
It's interesting. Mr. Thomas, a quarterback as a sophomore, is a fumbling ball.
And I don't know what happened there. That didn't go well. Andy fumbled the snap. It looked like it came up and made the tackle.
Coach, I think he had it, and then he got hit in the backfield. Somebody missed a blocking assignment up front.
Again, that's going to happen sometimes when you substitute some players.
He was in the process of handing the ball off.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame that on Andy.
No, I wouldn't either. He's one of yours. I wouldn't either.
Oh, sorry, Coach.
Gee, I've been hit worse than some of these Spartans have tonight.
Or some of the Big Reds, anyway. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pop you there.
That's all right.
So it's going to be it's going to give Greenbrier East an opportunity here, down 37-0, maybe get a little spark going. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line for Greenbrier East, and the Big Reds have, loosened up on that defense a little bit. I see some sophomore numbers in there. And Calhoun, he's going to go right up the gut, and he's going to get about a yard on that play, maybe two. It's going to make it 2nd and 8 with a rolling clock.
Well, like I said, that defense would still like a shutout. They don't want any points on their clock.
No, exactly.
And they're going to play tough. And Greenbrier East hasn't been able to move the ball, have had 1 first down that they've been able to acquire either running or passing the ball. The only other first down was on a penalty right before this last series, or their last series, actually. Now
they're into the eye with a sophomore quarterback, Lavelle.
Second long situation. And it's going to
Dustin
be a third longer.
Surge broke up the play. Dustin Coates came in and finished it off.
You know, the first two games
8.
of this young season, we've been calling Surge's name a good bit, Shenny. He's a player. He likes playing football.
All-state swimmer, great shape, tough kid. If you knew his sister, I know his sister Jessica, and I'll tell you what, she's no lightweight. She's tough, and she was an all-state swimmer herself. And I had Jessica in class, and she's a nice girl. Went and swam at Wheeling Jesuit, and she's a tough one. And Serge doesn't have much of a choice.
Oh boy!
And there's an interception. If I'm correct, I think that's Big Charlie Taylor.
Oh, was it?
Charlie pulls that in, and I had a feeling the Big Reds would hold there.
Yeah, like I said, their defense playing tough. They don't want to be scored on. Instead, they get the ball back. Nice job by the Big Red defense.
Andy Thomas coming back in at quarterback. I see number 11, Nathan Conley, bringing that play into him.
Well, we'll see if the Big Reds backup unit has some kinks worked out and is able to put a drive together this time. This is the future of the Big Red team. We have a lot of young sophomores playing this year, the Big Reds do, and to get this playing experience early in the season, even at that, is going to be awful good for the future of the program.
Oh, there's just there's some problems in there on that offensive line. Andy's going to take about a 2-yard loss.
That makes it a second and 13, 14 situation for the Big Reds. And getting those young guys in there apparently is still going to take some time to get the kinks worked out. But we'll see what happens here in a second 14 situation.
4-yard loss.
4-yard loss.
We're in the shadow of our own goalposts. Andy under center, Matt Lindemood in the backfield. There's a penalty flag. They're going to hand it to Alan Butterfield. Alan's got all kinds of speed. He's out there all by himself. And something happened behind him that shouldn't have happened. Blocking it back. So we're going to bring it back from the spot.
Well, Shenny, it's 37-0 in the second period, and it's been all PHS since the opening kickoff and the first play of the game. There's 3 minutes to go in the half, 3 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the half. And the Big Reds in a long situation here have...
Nathan Conley bringing the play in for the Big Reds, giving it to Andy, and hopefully the second team can get something out of here.
I was looking to see if Greenbrier East had made some substitutions on defense. It looks like a good number of their starters are still in there. So you would think they would have an advantage here over the Big Red reserve unit, which has only been able to muster one play of any significant distance, but it was called back for a penalty.
Right. Alan Butterfield gets his first carry at varsity, and he gets about a 10-yard gain. He gets called back. I wouldn't be real happy when I got back with that offensive line. So, P.J. Pausley brings the play in to Andy, quarterback Andy Thomas. And that's a whole different, except for Jeremy Rhodes, that's a whole different offensive team personnel. They're going to put Butterfield in motion. Andy's going to bring it. Andy's no stranger to the quarterback position. He played quarterback last year. He was undefeated as a 9th grader last year at Jackson Junior High, won the Wood County Championship, and he was pretty much Mr. Everything for them as well. He ran it, he threw it, he caught it, he punted it, he kicked it, he did everything he could. And they had a good team up there, and a lot of these kids are down here now. You got a lot of kids on the offensive line, and Josh Jenkins, Zach Nolan. You got a lot of kids playing, moving in and out, and the Butterfield kid and the Winans and Joey Schaefer. So, Parkersburg High School has a lot of talent lined up for the next couple of years. There's a snap to Kyle Sullivan a little bit high, and he's going to get off a low punt, and it's going to be picked up by Zach Coleman, and he's going to bring it back to about the 32-yard line with about a minute and a half to go in the second quarter.
Zach Coleman almost fumbled that ball. I thought that might be a free-for-all there for a minute, but he held on to it and picked up a few yards on the return to put Greenbrier East in decent field position. With just a $1:26 to go in the half, folks, it's 37-0 Big Reds. Has been Big Reds the entire game. They've had their reserves in now, getting some playing experience, playing time. We've got Tony Morrison down with his ankle up, some ice on his ankle. he and the majority of the rest of the starters are probably going to see limited play time this evening for the remainder of the game. But the Big Red defense holding steadfast.
There's a ball. It's on the
this
ground.
time looks like they might get a turnover.
They may get it back. They may have got it back there. It was bouncing around. I think Big Josh Jenkins wanted
on the ball.
Pick it up and run with it. But it's second down. Looks like it's going to be about second and about 19 for Greenbrier East on a running clock. We're getting close to a minute. And at halftime in tonight's telecast, we're going to have a student-athlete spotlight of the week, and it's going to be Jeremy Rhodes. And we've seen Jeremy is still in there on defense. And he's still in there on offense, too. So they're letting Jeremy get some playing time this evening out there at that strong safety position.
Well, Brian, there's that shotgun formation you were talking about earlier, and we might just have
Tell you what, tip drill. Andy Thomas tipped it, and it was pulled in by number 20, Derek Counts, a 5'11", 150-pound senior, and Andy made a play on it.
He did.
In the tip drill, when you're working on that tip drill in practice and you don't think it's doing you any good, it shows you right there, Brian.
And that was almost.
It does you good, doesn't it?
I guess so. I guess that's the only drill that Greenbrier East has been running all week is the tip drill, because they sure perfected that.
Well, it was up for grabs too, and the Big Reds almost have another interception on that play.
But close.
But that last pass was up for grabs, and it could have gone about either way. But that that play that's one that's for the highlight films that you review and you teach the tip drill with, because sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
They did a nice special on ESPN last year about Teddy Bruschi and the New England Patriots, how every day the linebacking core, almost like a pitching machine 5 yards away, and they peg balls at these linebackers. They really practice that in New England, and towards those.
It shows.
Yeah, it does.
Charlie Weiss.
Surge on the rush, putting the heat on the backside.
Uh-oh.
And it's going to be third down. Nice little 6-7 yard pickup.
Timeout with 22 seconds to go, and it looks like it's going to give them Greenbrier East the ball on about the 5 yard line.
Well, we're going
third and goal.
We're going to stay here with you. Greenbrier East has taken a timeout.
3, I'm sorry.
It's 3rd and 3, very short situation. Greenbrier East needs touchdowns, not field goals. They're in an obvious field goal situation here, but they're going to need to get touchdowns if they want to make this game close, being 37-0 with only 22 seconds remaining in the half. And I suppose, Shenny, they're trying to determine what play they think they're going to be able to put it in the end zone against a big
Well, they've got 2 plays, obviously.
They've been pretty stingy. And they do have 2 plays. They've got the timeouts, 22 seconds. But what
the best play that they have right now so far, it looks like on this drive, is the old Sandlot. I'll take the snap and go and see what happens.
Turn left at the trash can. I'll hit you by the tree.
Yeah, they're gonna hopefully send everybody into the end zone, get moving a little bit, and maybe hopefully somebody comes open. So I look for. You know what?
I got the play. Shotgun formation. There we go. Shotgun formation.
Go around draw.
Cut. No. Start to the left. Cut to the right towards the soccer goal. Up the middle.
Nothing. That's going to be it. That's going to run the clock out.
So is going to run the clock
out. With about 14 seconds to go. So hang around for halftime. We're going to see Jeremy Rhodes in the spotlight, student athlete, with under 5 seconds to go on the campus of Parkersburg High School. It's 37-0 Parkersburg over the visitors. Greenbrier East.
They're not going to get a playoff.
We'll be back
halftime.
in the third quarter.
We're going to give our sponsors the time to tell you why you need to buy from them. We'll see you in the third quarter.
Being that it's 37-0, I thought maybe we let them receive.
Okay. Back to the second half now. Looks like we're set for the kickoff for the second half with the Big Reds ahead 37-0. Second game and second home game of the year. Mason Roberts back deep.
Taken by Andy.
Andy Thomas gets the ball on about the 15-yard line. Makes a cut across right side. Tries to outrun runner, which he does, and then stutter steps. Face mask not called, but certainly given on the 32-yard line, which would have added a few yards to that return, which was about 15 yards on the return, Shannon.
That was a pretty good. Andy was trying to make some moves there. It looked like he had some open field. If he would have just kept running and not, a couple guys had the angle on him, he could have probably got a couple more yards.
Well, Andy's young, as you said, Shenny. He was successful last year in guiding his junior high school team to an undefeated season. However, this ain't the Little Leagues. This is AAA football. Parkersburg High School, and I think he's certainly got the potential, and he's learning. He's young. Maybe trying to make a few too many plays with too much action.
Well, he's under center.
Just to get upfield, but he is under center now, barely getting the ball off. Again, not really his fault. That defensive line is popping through that line of scrimmage without too much trouble. What's going on there?
I'll tell you what, we've got a conglomeration of second, third, probably even less than that, linemen on the field right now, trying to get everybody some playing time as far as the depth chart goes. Charts go, and I figure Greenbrier East, from the looks of it, still has their starting. It's from the starting lineup we have. They still have their starting lineup in there. They're trying to keep this score down as much as they can. There's a
equipment timeout.
Equipment timeout by the official. They're going to send him off. Did that used to be a penalty?
It used to be a penalty.
I'm asking you. I mean, if you weren't proper, I mean, I can understand if he's got something wrong, but I've seen officials over the years stop, blow the whistle and say, tell the kid to put his mouthpiece in. And when I remember being a kid, that was your penalties. You got penalized for that.
That's one of those technical rules. To be honest with you, I don't know.
There goes Butterfield again off the right side.
Enough for a first down, I do believe. Shenny gets out of bounds at the 44-yard line, I think.
That's the same play that got called back, and right at the end of the second quarter.
They got called back with a holding penalty early in the second period.
He's got some speed. And he was one of those kids that earlier in the 2 days he was on crutches. He got a little banged up in practice and has obviously come out of that and playing on Monday nights and also getting some playing time here tonight. So Andy Thomas is going to bring the Big Reds back up again with Matt Lindemood.
Greenbrier has 6 guys up front.
Never give it off to Mason on the left side. There's nothing there. I don't like the east-west stuff. You gotta
go north-south. Cut a hole up the middle. They got 6 guys on that defensive front, and the backers are kind of cheating to the outside, which leaves an opportunity up the middle there as well.
What? Mason Roberts is your starting kick returner, punt returner. He's got to
give him the ball.
He's in a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, he's in a little bit of a pain out there. I know he's a tough kid. He's fighting through it, but we know that he didn't start tonight on offense because of a problem he had with him stepping on a nail. He's limping right now. We're up 37-0.
Take him out. What you're saying?
Sit him down.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other kids on the sideline need to be getting some playing time. So.
Well, maybe after the series he will.
And there's that same play again.
He does go out to the corner to make a block and then gets in the way to prevent another defender from making the stop and allows
about a 10-yard game.
For about a 12-yard game. Be a 3rd and short situation now for the Big Reds. And as you say, Shenny, by having some of the starters in and some of the reserves in, you get some guys that have not practiced a whole lot together and may not know each other and how the other lineman beside you moves and may not be as familiar with some of the blocking schemes too.
Exactly. And they run the same stuff on and Matt Lindeman's going to get the first down there.
I want to tell you what, Matt sure looked like Joey on that run, didn't he?
Yeah, he's moving around trying to get as many yards as he can, and he got it.
That's Matt Lindemood, number 22. He is a sophomore, 5'11", 190, pretty good size for a sophomore. And, in fact, he's not too much smaller than his big brother, Joey, who is, of course, number 21 and one of the candidates for the Kennedy Award for the best player in the state of West Virginia. Now, Joey may not have a lot of stats in tonight's game, but it wasn't needed. And why play the guy if his team is doing extremely well? But his brother kind of was showing that he's going to keep with the family tradition when Joey graduates. This time it's rollout by Thomas to the right-hand side, looks for the pitch man but didn't need him, and picks up about 10 yards for another first down.
I just got a phone call from our athletic director. I guess we're out of popcorn and in the concession stand, and he called and wants to know why we don't have any popcorn. And I told him I'm in the press box. I don't have time to talk to him. I hung up on him. I don't know if I'm going to have a job tomorrow. But I see him down there on the sidelines laughing. So.
Well, of course, the reality is that the Wrestling Boosters Club, I believe, is manning the booth for concessions, and they should have some popcorn.
Exactly,
Shenny.
I agree 100%. They're taking money out of our pocket.
Popcorn's a high-profit item. I could have brought some bags for you if you're short.
You're not kidding. They're taking money out of my pocket. They're taking money out of Lance's pocket. Maybe that's why he's all fired up. I see he's standing down there on the sidelines with the director of the SSAC, Mike Hayden, and Mike is in Parkersburg tonight to watch the Big Reds. You know, those guys in the SSAC move around a lot. They go see a lot of games all over the state, and they stay pretty busy. But Mike was able to stay in town tonight and come and watch Parkersburg and Greenbrier East. And Andy Thomas is going to bring the Big Reds up at their own 30, or at the Greenbrier East 34-yard line on 1st and 10. And there goes Butterfield in motion. They're going to give it back to Mason Roberts, a little misdirection. He's going to get about 8 yards. It's going to make it 2nd and 2 with 9 minutes on a rolling clock. It's going to be Big Red ball about 2nd and 3 from the 28-yard line.
Well, they give Mason the ball. You were suggesting earlier maybe they want to take him out. Maybe Mason doesn't want to come out. Maybe he's tough as the nails that he stepped on and wants to just keep playing the ball.
That could be, but I'd take him out.
Wants to keep playing. You've got Tony Morrison on crutches already, and you know, obviously not going to be in the game anymore this evening. But Mason doesn't seem to be in enough pain to come out. Goes in motion this time. And
Matt.
Hand off to Matt up the middle. 4 first downs, still running.
He's going to get, looks like he's going to get about 10 yards on a guarantee. He may have more yards than his brother by the end of the night.
He very well might. He very well might. He runs a lot like his brother, Joe.
They're kind of straight up. They're both really fast. They can take a hit, I can tell you that.
Have some strength in their legs, which is key, obviously, of importance when you're running the ball.
Oh, Matt and Joey both are very strong in their lower bodies.
1st and 10 Big Reds just inside the 20-yard line. Andy Thomas keeps it on a pitch to the right-hand side, and he's about 5 yards past the line of scrimmage and needs to go down, as you're saying there, Shenny. He's getting stood up and about ready to get popped.
Well, Andy's those guys are all a lot alike. They want to get as many yards as they can, and they want to do as much as they can for their team. And not realizing the situation they're in, they're not going to get much more when they got 11 guys piled on top of them. They need to understand when to get down and
never say die situation.
Yeah.
Want to keep getting some more yards.
I'll tell you what, we've got an injury time out here in Greenbrier East, so we're going to check in with some of our sponsors this evening, and we'll come back with start talking about the player of the game with Postal Annex player of the game. So we'll be back after these messages. Back for him. I bought it up. All right, see ya. 19th Street.
Back to Stadium Field, and injured on the play is a player from Greenbrier East whose number we don't have on the roster. We'd like to recognize him.
There's a couple of those tonight.
Like to recognize him, but he's walking off on his own accord, so appears to be okay, which is good. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. It's 2nd and 6 for the Big Reds on about a 4-yard pickup by Andy Thomas. In at quarterback now for Kyle Suffin, as the Big Reds have built up a 37-0 seemingly insurmountable lead. Nice quick handoff to the right-hand side.
I'll tell you what, it was a nice Alan Butterfield's a tough kid. He's fast, and
Butterfield.
We're gonna be calling his name a lot over the next couple of years.
Well, and a good bit more tonight as we have 7.5 minutes to go in the third period. The Big Reds continue to run the ball, move the chains. Well, not quite that time. I thought they had picked up a first down, but it appears to be a 3rd and short situation.
I'll tell you what, the clock. No, it's first down. They just didn't move the chains yet. So
I thought it was a
according to the
first down.
scoreboard and look at where the ball is and where the chains are. I don't know how they didn't give them a first down, but it's 1st and goal from the 8.
It is.
Let's get that clock rolling. Andy Thomas under center. Matt Lindenwood lined up behind him. There goes Butterfield in motion again. A quick snap. Fake. Andy's going to take it and go off the right side, and he's going to get about 4.
Inching their way closer.
Second goal from the 5.
Now, I want to ask you, what does it appear as though Coach Buttrey, who's doing a fine job, I think, was able to do at halftime there with that second team offense in there?
Well, I'll tell you what, he probably got him calmed down. They got in there, they got thrown in kind of quick. They probably, they weren't expecting to get in that early, And
excited.
they probably just got him down. You probably sat him down, calmed him down, and went over some basic things with him and had him ready to go in the second half.
Well, they're moving the ball now, and this time looks into the end zone for a touchdown. Number 22, Matt Lindemood.
You know, last weekend was a 4-touchdown weekend for the Lindemoods. Joey had 2 against GW. Matt had 1 against GW.
Well, they've
brother Adam had 1 Sunday for the Ramblers on the 9 and 10-year-old team. So their mom Susie was telling me yesterday at the soccer game there was a 4-touchdown weekend for the Lindemood family.
Well, I'll tell you what, each one of the boys has a touchdown here this evening, which makes it now a 43-0 lead. Parkersburg High School over Greenbrier East with 6:43 to go in the third period. Matt, again, just a sophomore. We got a flag coming on the field for the extra point.
Zach Nolan, sophomore guard, coming onto the field, and I think caused us to have 12 men on the field. He went in 12. He went in thinking they didn't have enough and kind of bungled things up a little bit there. So we're going to have a penalty. They're going to move us back 5 yards, and Bobby Hopkins is going to line up to kick now what looks like to be a 25-yard extra point.
That'll give him some practice for field goals, as it's a little bit farther than a typical extra point. This to make it 44.
And it's good.
Well, folks, we have a timeout in the game. The Big Reds will be kicking off to Greenbrier East when we come back. It is 44-0 Parkersburg High with 6:43 to go in the third period. We'll be back after these messages from our sponsors. We have a couple of halftime scores to pass on to you here this evening. If you haven't heard, Parkersburg South, our neighbors on the south part of town, has racked up a 35-0 lead at halftime. And they seem to be coming out real strong at the beginning of this season as well, looking for their second win.
And there's a
back-to-back seasons. Fumble on the kickoff out of bounds at about the 12-yard line.
Starting to feel a little bit
Greenbrier East ball. We also have a couple other scores for you. Another one of local interest. Ripley has gone ahead of Capital 21-0 at halftime, which is a pretty strong game for Ripley. It's a halftime score, and they seem to be playing pretty strong as well this year.
Capital?
Ripley.
No, yeah, they're playing Capital. I didn't know they were playing Capital with that. I'll tell you what, they were 0-10 last year. Looks like they're going to go 2-0 to start the year. That's good. I'll tell you what, they played Big Red stuff in the scrimmage down in Lately Field. And how many more times can I say I'll tell you what in one sentence? Well, we lost Brian Singer. You know, Coach Singer was assistant basketball coach for PHS for a number of years, and then when Clyde Brewer decided to retire, he went on to take over, well, not take over, but help his old buddy Scott Sorrow, the head men's basketball coach at Williamstown High School, and he's having a ball up there. And Brian was nice enough to come down and fill in until you were able to make it back into town tonight, John, and we always have a good time with Brian.
Yeah,
even though he's an Ohio State fan.
Thank you, Brian. Other than being a Buckeye fan, you're not too bad. But appreciate you filling in. Was out of town this evening. Couldn't get here for the kickoff.
Jeremy jumped that one, didn't he?
I tell you what, though, Big Red's defense would like another kickoff because they'd like to score a touchdown. I think they just or safety. Nice sack there by the line, pushing them back about 7-8 yards. Shenny on that play.
Looks like it. So it's going to make it 3rd and 11. We got 5 minutes on a running clock, and this half seems to be going a little bit faster than the first one. So, and here's Sergio and Matt Lindemood in there, those linebacker positions, showing like they're coming. And Matt's coming, Sergio's dropping back, and there's nothing
nowhere
there.
To go.
Nothing
nowhere
there.
to go.
It's going to make it 4th down. They got a punt out of here.
Now their first punt from their own end zone ended up in a safety. Greenbrier East's second punt was a short punt.
Here comes Mason Roberts limping back in again. I'm sure there's got to be somebody else they could put in there to return punts. How about putting that like big number 66 in there or something? Let's see what he can do.
May not have,
he may
may
surprise
not have
you.
the hands for it.
Dustin Bell. Dustin may surprise you. You never know. Or, you know, Joey. How about Joey Schaefer picked up a fumble last week and ran in for a touchdown
How
Against
about
GW.
Alan Butterfield?
Yep. And then
But I don't think Serge might be returning this when he's up.
that was.
Big
I think that.
I'm
sorry,
Greenbrier East player.
But it came awful close. But that was
something in practice that usually is stressed. You need to get away from that ball when it starts bouncing, and you just want the opposing team to down it.
That was a 300-foot punt, kind of like a 300-yard drive, 100 up, 100 down, and 100 out. There wasn't much on that one.
First down, Big Reds on Greenbrier East 30-yard line. And the sophomore, Andy Thomas, taking snaps at quarterback. Big Reds have a 44-0 lead over Greenbrier East with 4:28 to go in the third period still. And the ball on the 30-yard line in scoring position again for the second-team offense.
There's Matt Lindemood off the left side, and Matt's going to get about 6. And there's a flag. Guys, it's 44-0. Let's keep the flags in your pocket.
It's
not
thrown,
too flagrant. You know what I mean?
It's thrown in the area of holding. Maybe it was flagrant. I didn't see it, but it is a holding call.
Come on. Let's get this over with. I'll tell you what, Matt. Matt Lindeman's just like his brother. He breaks free on one of those. You're not going to catch him.
Yeah, you're right. And you can see he's ready to break loose, too.
You might catch him, but I'm not.
Not even. I probably couldn't catch him if I was down there waiting for him. But Big Reds, after that holding penalty, the Big Reds take over 1st and 25 on the, or 1st and 22 on the 22-yard line. Andy Thomas back to pass, wide open, can't hold on to the ball.
We're having a little difficulty with the microphones here, and I think I've got it taken care of. There we go. Well, I've still got a little buzz. But we'll get it figured out.
Are you back there, Shannon?
Yeah, I'm here. Don't worry about me.
All right, I think we temporarily lost you.
I'm losing.
Missed one play of the action, though.
That's okay. And
it's now 2nd and long for the Big Reds. 2nd and 21 on Greenbrier East 41-yard line.
And John needs to quit messing with the controllers.
Matt Lindemood gets the ball again.
So, much better.
About a 7-yard pickup. Be 3rd and long still, about 3rd and 15.
Anthony Thorpe coming in for the Big Reds right now. Matt Lindemood, the lone setback.
He looks like he's ready for the ball too. He's leaning forward, ready. No, he just
give it to Allen, and Allen's going to tiptoe up into there and get back to the original line of scrimmage. It looks like, and that's going to make it 4th and 10. Go for it.
Well, the Big Reds just trying to run the clock off here. They need this game to be over. They're ahead 41-0. They're getting a lot of reserves with some playing time in there, which is awful important building a program. As the Big Reds continue to rebuild their program, it's certainly the one of the, if not the most storied high school football programs in the state of West Virginia, and number 7 or 8 in the country with wins. Parkersburg High School Big Reds are playing their 100th year of football this year. Andy Thomas back to pass, rolling out left on a 4th and long situation, just trying to keep the clock going. We've got
another flag. Come on, ref.
We got a flag. We got a penalty, which, if it is holding by the Big Reds, will surely be declined, if that's what the call is. Which would turn the ball over to Greenbrier East on downs.
And we got some scores coming. Wow. come on, Williamstown.
Williamstown's
Come on, Williamstown.
regular season victory streak at jeopardy this evening, as local Tyler consolidated ahead 18-13 late in the game.
Looking late in the third quarter.
Late in the third period.
Williamstown looking to set the state record in most
continuous regular season wins. They have 37, I believe it is now, stretching across.
Stretch back to Coach Buttry, I think.
4-year, yes. Coach Buttry's last year, I believe. Coach Buttry, the coach of the Parkersburg High Big Reds, of course, whose son is playing at Williamstown High School this year.
A nice
fumble on the play. Big Reds say they have it.
Takedown by Andy Thomas.
The ball's down near the first down marker, but Greenbrier East apparently does recover the ball.
Coach Jason Woodyard on the sideline signaling Big Red ball, but ref's not having any of that. Sergio's still in there. I'd like to have a linebacker named Sergio. Wonder if they got that popcorn situation taken care of. And it's going to be a first down. And we're down below 2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Oh, you would think Mr. Lance, new athletic director here at Parkersburg High School, would be able to get the popcorn situation under control. He's a pretty good fella. He's taken on the largest and one of the best athletic programs in the country at the high school level, taking it on in full stride and enjoying his job and doing a good job with it. As most of you probably are aware, Parkersburg High School's athletic program was ranked the 13th best in the country by Sports Illustrated this past summer. And that's quite an honor, quite a recognition for a program that's worked hard for decades and literally over a century of time. Surge comes through for the sack. The ball's underthrown, and it's going to be picked off by Andy Thomas at the 20-yard line. And Big Reds take over with an interception. That ball was thrown up for grabs. Surge put pressure on the quarterback, and he got a nice little block, but still was enough pressure for him to throw.
It's a nice ball.
It was a lob. It wasn't a nice pass. It was a lob. It was like
throwing off his back foot. He's rolling. I mean, come on.
No, it was long, but it wasn't a nice ball. He threw it up for grabs into two defenders, and it was picked off pretty easily.
Yeah,
but to get it off, it was a nice job. Trying to get some points on the board. They were in a long situation there, and the Big Reds secondary comes up with an INT, and the offense, the same guy that intercepted the ball, whose name we'll probably be talking about here a lot of the next few years, takes under the center.
Oh, Alan Butterfield. We've been running that play a lot. I don't like his east-west stuff, but it works. I mean, they win a lot of ball games with it. And Alan got out there, didn't have anywhere to go, and kind of pulled up.
He's got some speed, like you said. I think what he's looking to do is break to the outside and cut it up with his speed and be able to outrun the defensive secondary. But still picked up 4 or 5 yards on the play. And
20-yard run for 5 yards.
Yeah, ran 20 more in the westerly direction.
Here he comes again. They're going to give it to – Andy's going to keep it, and he's going to – well, I think that play kind of broke up a little bit. Allen got a little bit ahead of himself. Andy looked to pitch it, and Allen was in front of him instead of behind him, and Andy had to cut it.
Well, they ran out to the short side of the field, too. And I'm not sure about that. But, again, I think
it's hard to run.
Big Reds are just trying to get some repetition in here with their second-team offense. And
I'm going to say they
may
not
move
get
the ball.
Playoff here.
Trying to tick off the remaining seconds of the third period. It looks like they will have to get the play off. There's only 20 seconds on the play clock and ticking, about 3 seconds ahead of the game clock. No, they reset the 25-second clock.
Took a long enough.
So they could let it tick down.
We got some time on that one.
But they're going.
Andy is going to pitch this one off.
And he takes a hit,
Zach
gets
Cross,
the ball off. No.
Not much there for Zach. That's his first carry of the year. So with no time left in the third quarter, it's 44-0 Parkersburg High School. We're going to take a break and listen to what our sponsors have to say. Well, we're starting the second half off with Tyler Warner, and that's a pretty darn good punt for Tyler, the sophomore, and Nathan Conley comes up and kind of gets in the way there of the punt return. I couldn't tell who it was who was returning the punt. Nathan put an arm out there and kind of clotheslined him. So That's going to the Big Reds are going to down the ball at the Greenbrier East 27-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10. And here's some more score updates. Big Reds Bel Air
ahead of John Marshall, 20-13.
Brooks beat Buckeye Local 14-0. Up north, some north games. Tell you what, I'm looking out across the stadium, and I can still, on the visitor side, I can still see my mom and dad sitting over there. So they must be enjoying what they're seeing. For them to, it's surprising that my dad's still sitting here 44-9 with nobody in the family playing.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great night, wonderful night for high school football. The long, hot summer that we've had seems to be coming near to a close, and fall football season's upon us.
Oh, Ripley's beat Cabell Midland, not Capital. I knew they were playing Cabell Midland.
I apologize, I misspoke. Ripley extends their lead.
Beckley's beat
27-0.
Capital 21-0. We're gonna have our hands full.
That's where I got that confused. Beckley was leading Capital.
You had your hands full down there one night.
The Big Reds.
Did you not?
Yes.
It was supposedly the longest game ever.
That was the longest game I ever played in. I remember that.
They say it's the longest game in the history of West Virginia high school football. 3 overtimes.
Really? Well,
Lights went out.
It was 3 overtimes. It started the game. It was raining. By the time we finished the game, it started snowing and the ground was frozen. This was in 1981. And
I was there.
Shenny, you were there, and your brother Scott was a senior that year running the ball. And the winner was going to the playoffs, and the loser was staying home. And at that point in time, there were only 8 teams in the playoff, not 16. And Parkersburg and Beckley, Woodrow Wilson played to a tie at the end of regulation, and went into 3 overtimes before it finally was over. And in each overtime, there were dramatic plays, and down to the minute last plays to have to score touchdowns, and it was one heck of a game. It was an exciting game. Yep. And it was nice for the Big Reds because there were, I believe, 9 or 10 starters that were injured that game, and one that was injured. And I remember this when I was in Beckley at the stadium a couple of weeks ago, in fact. Kind of brought back memories. Eddie Parrish was one of those injured players that game. And
Scott was
at halftime, Scott was one of the injured players at that game as well. There were a lot of starters, a lot of good starters, all state.
4th and 5. It looks like 4th and 5 here for Greenbrier East. Eddie, you're not going to tell us story on Eddie.
Eddie was in the locker room with everybody else at halftime, but occupied when the team left the locker room, and nobody realized that he had
Eddie was still busy.
Been locked himself back in the stalls, and we didn't realize until after the game when we went to the locker room and Eddie was still there that he wasn't with us in the second half. Not that we missed you, Eddie, or that we didn't miss you, but we were into the game.
There's Alan Butterfield back deep. We've been calling for that all night.
Yes, there you go. Alan does get to an attempt anyway to return the kick that time. Didn't get too far. They had the coverage on pretty good. But Big Reds.
More scores.
Tell you a couple of scores there that we just talked about, Shenny, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week when Parkersburg takes to the road for the first time this season. They're going to go on to their second victory of the year and be 2-0 and go to Woodrow Wilson Beckley, who also appears to be on the road to 2-0 as well. Capital is being shut out by Woodrow Wilson as we speak, and if that continues, then it's going to be a heck of a showdown next week at Beckley between two undefeated teams.
7-0 Riverside.
Riverside looking for their first win ahead right now. Morgantown, the defending state AAA champions, have a, was it 14-0 lead?
Nothing. 28-0 over, I can't remember who they were playing.
This time, Andy Thomas isn't able to get the ball off, and he just needs to know when to go down so he doesn't injure himself. Which he did that time, and that continues to let the clock run at 44-0 the score in the fourth period. 8:30 left in the game. Big Red's just trying to run the clock out and get some playing experience for some of the younger fellows coming into the game. Number 11, Nathan Conley, who's certainly getting a lot of playing time this year and doing a good job. He's got some height, Nathan does. 6'1", he is a junior.
I'd like to hear that Williamstown score again.
Yeah, Williamstown was having a little trouble there in their regular season winning streak at risk. Alan Butterfield carries the ball that time over the right-hand side.
Clock's
was able
still running under 8 minutes.
Pick up some yardage, had some blocks, use it to his advantage. Big Reds are going to punt, though, in a fourth down situation. And as you say, Shanny, they are successfully allowing that clock to tick down to double goose eggs. Actually, quadruple goose eggs. Five seconds left on the play clock.
Tyler Warner on the kick, and another banger by
nice kick by Tyler Warner.
He's going to take it at the 10, and Joey has left. Joey, I'll tell you what happened there. Joey got a little move put on him, and then the rest of the Big Red defense came up to make the play, and that kid stopped, not realizing that Joey was on his way back. And let him know, you got by me one time, you're not going to get by me this time, and really laid a lick on him there. And I'll tell you what, Brian Calhoun's had a pretty good ball game tonight for Greenbrier East, if that's possible. They haven't been able to get much going this evening, and they've really been outmanned.
Well, coming out of the game is number 77, Josh Jenkins, another sophomore and a starter both ways. He's no longer playing defense now. 6'4", 250 sophomore Josh Jenkins, already being talked about for the Hunt Award. And he comes out of the game along with Serge, number 15, and 3 or 4 other folks who came out there. So some of the Big Red defense going to be getting some rest. And Chris James, a sophomore, 6'1", 240, comes into the game for number 75, Brian Schaefer.
Right. Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joey. Brian's his dad. His name's Brian, too. But he goes by Joey. Matt Winans is in the ball game for the Big Reds. Number 20 sophomore, the special teams extraordinaire.
Also in on that play, Charlie Taylor. Charlie's number 44. Seems to be getting some action this year early on and making some plays, doing a pretty good job. Sean Chichester blitzing up the middle and just missing the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. It would have been a nice little loss there. Instead,
Sean's going to get his head up.
First down, I believe, for Greenbrier East. Yeah, Sean has his head up and keeps himself under control. He makes that play and stuffs them deep. That's why they get this playing time when they're not used to it. We're going to have an update of scores for you here in just a second. Well, it looks like Tyler Consolidated has got a substantial lead now, 24-13 over Williamstown, who is in jeopardy of breaking their regular season win streak.
Nice tackle,
Tyler
PJ.
Consolidated looking to snap it at, I believe, 37. A whole swarm of Big Red defenders were in on that play.
This clock's rolling.
Charlie Taylor getting in on that one again. Matt Winans, another sophomore playing. Matt was hustling over the ball. Anthony Thorpe getting some playing time. Alan Butterfield playing some defense here as well as offense.
Chris James giving chase. Pausley's out there all by himself, and he's going to make the play. They're going to go out of bounds with about 5 minutes to go. It's going to be a first down for Greenbrier East at the road. It looks to be about 45-yard line.
That stops the clock with 5:05 left in the game.
And the crowd is starting to disperse. The cheerleaders aren't even cheering anymore.
Well, they've got a lot to cheer about, at least on the Big Red side, who have come out in dominating fashion again this evening as they did in their first game. And this time, Matt Lindenwood just misses a sack, turns around, comes back, and hits the quarterback just as the ball goes off. But we got a penalty flag down, and it looked like Matt Winans. And for Greenbrier East, Edgar McClintock, we're going at it. I'm not sure what the play call is going to be on our near side here, but the ball was out of play, so it couldn't be interference. The ball was thrown out of bounds.
I can't wait to see what this calls.
As Matt Lindenwood put it can't be pass interference.
That ball was 30 yards over his head.
That ball was thrown almost to the stands, and they called pass interference, and the ball was easily 10 or 15 yards out of bounds. It was over over the Big Red bench, literally over their heads. That ball was completely I don't know how interference was called on that play. Maybe there's something we don't know or we didn't see.
Somebody throwing the flag before.
But Bernie, even though they're ahead 41-0, Bernie wants to know the same thing that we want to know. How can you call an interference call when after the ball's thrown, the play was not even close to being catchable, not even questionable to being catchable? I don't know if it's a sympathy call or a call in error, but I'm guessing that maybe the official saw some pushing and shoving but didn't see where the ball went. And I'll tell you what, the Big Red defense takes a little revenge on that play. Now we've got another flag thrown about 30 feet up in the air. And somebody may have said something because I didn't see any pushing or shoving, but I think we've got a personal foul. The personal foul has got to be for something verbal because I didn't see anything. I guess it was Greenbrier East. They must have said something. They didn't like getting pushed back 5 yards. Now they're going to get pushed back 15 more. That's what happens when you mess with a Big Red defense like that. No matter if it's first team, second team, or third team, they're going to come out hitting hard.
Especially those guys on the second and third team. They've been waiting to hit.
Oh, they love playing hard. You know, Greenbrier's just thinking, we're down 44-0. Maybe we'll just sneak one in the end zone. No, it doesn't work that way. Like you said, Shenny, you've got the second and third team guys in there, some of them, that they're going with both guns firing. I mean, they're going to play. They're going to do what they can to make a stop in there and hit hard, just like they did again in that play.
Second 27, and there's nothing there. Charlie Taylor waiting on him.
Also in on that play again, I think, was Sean Chichester. He's trying to stuff some things up the middle and was getting some action again that play. Sean's a junior, 6 foot 180. Big Red stacked up again on the line. And I don't, for the life of me, know why Greenbrier East continues running this ball and fumble the ball, which the Big Reds are going to recover.
They're going to call him down.
Huh?
That's exactly right. They're going to call him down.
Okay, now that one was a sympathy call.
That's okay. Let's keep that clock running. It was 44-40.
Okay, now it's 4th down and 15. There's 3:36 to go in the game, folks. The Big Reds have dominated the performance from the very beginning of the game, with all players that have gotten some action this evening. And I think Greenbrier East is content to run the clock out as well on the 4th and 15. That's exactly what they do, as the Big Reds hold them, no problem. The clock will stop with the turnover of possession. And when it starts back up again, the Big Reds will have the ball. with a 44-0 lead on their own 44-yard line and 3:23 to go in the game.
Do we have a quarterback? I don't see.
Jonathan Haynes coming into the game, as is Adam Clegg.
My question is,
coming out of the game is Zach Cross. And I don't see a quarterback, Tommy Little. And the Big Reds have to call timeout because apparently Tommy Little didn't know he was going to be the quarterback.
I'll tell you what, Buntry's jumping on Andy right now. So Tommy Little is a sophomore transfer from St. Mary's last year. He was a JV quarterback for St. Mary's last year, and his dad was a heck of a football player for St. Mary's High School as well. And Tommy's in his first year here at Parkersburg High School. Bernie, who, as you know, is from St. Mary's, played high school football with his dad. And Tommy's a good athlete. He's a good baseball player. He's a good wrestler. He's a good football player.
Well,
he's going to get some snaps.
He's going to get his first snap of the year on a 1st and 15 situation. Under center. Pitches out to the left-hand side to Serge, who's got some room if he can get there. And I'm sorry, that wasn't Serge. That was Zachary Duncan.
They got them all in there tonight.
I'm trying to keep up with all the numbers here, folks.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Thorpe's coming into the game, another sophomore.
Matt, let him move back in that fullback position.
Brian Schaefer in there. Left guard. We got another flag down.
Keep it in your pockets, guys. Maybe they see Hayden down there in the corner.
Corey McClung in there also, another sophomore lineman. Pushing 260, 6 foot 260. He's pretty good size. Chris James in there, another sophomore at 240. Big Reds have size, as they usually do. And with conditioning program that they've been on the last few years, Coach Buttrey has been able to build the strength of the team. The penalty is a holding on offense, a push in the back on defense. They are going to offset. We will replay the down.
Keep it in your pockets, boys.
Adam Clegg, number 83, checks back into the game. Flags will find their ways back to the pockets of the Zebras. And we're going to repeat 2nd down, which is 2nd and 12.
Tommy under center. Man, let him move back in the.
Butterfield in motion.
Oh,
it's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Somebody reach up, that's a shirt.
Well, maybe they're going to let him go at this point. There's only about 2 minutes, coming up on 2 minutes to go in the game. It's 3rd and 11 now, Big Reds. Holding on to a 44-0 lead. It was 37-0 at halftime, and for all intents and purposes, the game was over, Shenny, before the 2nd period even. And the Big Reds could have run the score up to about whatever they wanted, really, but have wisely let their starters get some rest and let some younger kids and non-starters get some playing experience, which is very valuable at this point. Matt Lindenboom being one of those, takes the ball up the gut for about a 10-yard pickup.
Let's go for it. Keep this clock running.
Only $1:28 to go now in the game. 4th and 1, as Shenny said, it would certainly make sense just to run a play. And that appears as though what the Big Reds are going to do. Adam Clegg, number 83, brings the play in.
Adam's a senior, isn't he?
Did I say sophomore?
No, I just asking.
Yeah, Adam is a senior. Big Reds snap the ball with just over a minute to go and hand off to Matt Lindenboom up the middle, who plugs away for a 1st down.
I got one more.
Across the 45-yard line.
And Tommy Little is coming out, and Jordan Powell is coming in to run a little bit on Postal Annex Player of the Game. Wow.
Well, Shenny, we haven't been talking much about the player of the game. But, boy, I tell you what, this is a team game.
Yeah, I think
this is a team game, honestly. You had defense, you had offense, and you even had special teams making a play. You have first team, you have second team, you have third team. I don't know that it's fair to give it to any one individual player. So my call or nominee is for the team, and that includes coaching staff, Shenny.
I'll tell you who does a great job is the broadcasting class over at Parkersburg South. They're the ones that put this whole thing together, and without that broadcasting class, we wouldn't be able to do this. So
thank you all for making it possible.
Over there. And that was going to be the last play of the game from Parkersburg High School for John Davis. I'm Shenny Shenanine, 44-0, and get to Beckley next week because we're going to have a dandy.
That's right. Big Reds will take on Beckley, two of the top premier AAA teams in the state. We'll see what happens. They're both going to come in 2-0. The Big Reds on a roll here this evening. Thank you for listening on CAS Cable from Stadium Field. I'm John Davis. We'll see you next time.